In this episode, we want to find out the basic needs of man. We want to give an absolute answer to where is disease coming from. And in order to give an absolute answer, you must build on an absolute foundation. And the laws of nature itself is absolute. The human being is absolute. And the needs that the human being has are absolute. Now, looking into nature, we see that every function needs at least two elements. It needs an element that generates or enables the function, and then it needs an element that sustains the function. And the two elements are different. So when we take a seed, in order that that seed could germinate, it needs first an electrical input to build an electrical circuit in order then to take the chemistry, the needs out of the water or the ground, wherever it is. So that makes clear, in order to have a good function, you need both elements at the same time. The same is with the engine. If you start and you have the electrical circuit, but you miss the fuel, the machine, the motor will not start. And on the other side, the same thing happens. So always two different elements in order to function. Remember, this is basic, fundamental, absolute. What are the two different needs of the human being in order that he should function well? Now, nature tells it to us, and we can view it if we have eyes to see it. Now, in order to understand the law, we need to know what it is doing with us. A law always gives the conditions for our function. So life is conditioned by our needs. If we would have no needs, we would need no law. And it's not only that we have the needs, we also need to give them in a certain amount. They must be in between these two lines. That should the line show us. Now, if we would be fulfilling the needs, then we would have normal function and we would have 100% health. Whenever then the body comes and reacts with dysfunction or disease, we know the needs are not fulfilled at a certain place. Something is missing or is too much. That's on the physical level. You must have a balance of it. And it's very important to find out what you miss, because if you don't understand the message, you might come to the point of no return, which is death, where you have no function. So here we need wisdom. Disease shows us that something is not right. That is a law that nature puts there, a need that is not fulfilled. And so I need to bring that situation again into the balance that is set by the law. Now we all have an understanding of what our body tells us when we have the physical symptoms of thirst, of hunger, when it's too cold or too hot. All those things we know because we know it. No one has told to us because nature tells it to you. No one needs to wonder when he's hungry why he's hungry. No one needs to wonder when he is tired why he's tired. He understands the message. But now when your ears are clogged, when your dizziness is there, you're dizzy, you have a tinnitus, you have even a tonsillitis or anything in your body, you need to know what is missing. And since I did not find a physical, chemical need that were missing in my patients when they came with the symptoms, asking them for their mental history, I find out that they need a second kind of a need that I never learned anything about in my medical study or during my fellowship. Because righteousness, liberty, security, which are purely spiritual, you can only understand them by thoughts. We were not taught about them. How could it be that the study about medicine, especially about the human being, can be so wrong or so one-sided, just looking to the physical, but missing totally the spiritual thing? Now, we all know that righteousness, liberty, security can only be 100%. They cannot be partial of it. I was living in communist Romania until I was 19 years old, and I fled from there because I wanted liberty, not just inside the borders of my country, but I wanted that liberty that I could go on beyond every border. So we never have too much of the spiritual needs. They can only be missing. Now, how many body reactions do we have from the missing of the spiritual needs? Disease in all its forms. Since the body is one, the symptoms can appear everywhere when the thought is not according to what he needs to be. So, love is the second, that need that is missed in the human being. And if we miss that, how can we ever find out why he is sick? So, thoughts, the cause of disease. The question is, what are they? They are that power, so to say, so they are that means by which spiritual information is digested. So in order to understand a word or a gesture, we need to think about it. And our thoughts are just working with that information. And it's so important to understand that we need that spiritual information even more than the physical one. Now, we have learned that we need both at the same time. They must be both satisfied. We cannot say one is more than the other. Yet yes, one is first and the other is second. That we will see. So the spiritual need is there and thoughts work with it. That's why thoughts are most important. They are like the stomach that needs to digest food. And imagine the digestion functions not well because the enzymes are not there to do the job. So the same things are thoughts. Thoughts digest spiritual information. That's why it's of most importance to understand where do they come from.